Hello, Magiccasters of all shapes and sizes! My name is Chance, welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 7th episode of our 3rd level spell series. Today we have an incredible spell in store for us today, and unsurprisingly, it is usable by the Druid. God, do I love their spell list. It is so good, just so good. Call Lightning is found in the Player's Handbook, and let me tell you, it is surprisingly great. There have been a lot of DMs who hate this spell. I personally love it. I'll go over ways around it, and I'll also talk about why people dislike it so much. Now let's take a quick look at its mechanics here so we can better understand what we're talking about. So your damage is an unbelievable 3d8 plus an additional d8 for each spell slot level above 3rd. The effect at a glance is create an electrical storm and call down a bolt of lightning, targeting creatures within 5 feet of the strike. If the weather is already stormy, you deal an extra d10 damage. You can also call down another lightning strike as an action. Your cast time is 1 action, the range is 120 feet, but the actual area of effect is a 120 foot by 10 foot cylinder. Man, that is huge. The duration is 10 minutes, and it is concentration, as you might imagine. The components are somatic and verbal. The saving throw is Dexterity, and should they succeed, they take half damage. The school is Conjuration, and the damage type is unsurprisingly Lightning. Now let's take a quick look at the full description here and then talk about the spell a little bit. A storm cloud appears in the shape of a cylinder that is 10 feet tall with a 60-foot radius, centered on a point you can see within range directly above you. The spell fails if you can't see a point in the air where the storm cloud could appear. For example, if you're in a room that can't accommodate the cloud. When you cast this spell, choose a point you can see under the cloud. A bolt of lightning flashes down under the cloud to that point. Each creature within 5 feet of that point must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 3d10 lightning damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. On each of your turns until the spell ends, you can use your action to call down lightning in this way again, targeting the same point or a different one. If you are outdoors in a stormy condition, when you cast the spell gives you control over the existing storm instead of creating a new one. Under such conditions, the spell damage increases by 1d10. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot 4th level or higher, the damage increases by 1d10 for each slot level above 3rd. My goodness, absolutely fantastic and amazing. Something I would like to point out is if you have multiple party members with this spell, you could just recast it on top of each other to gain that extra d10. I think that'd be pretty cool stuff. Certainly a good idea. Naturally, there's a lot of other things that happen with this spell. For example, it's safe to logically assume that it's also raining. The spell doesn't expressly say that, however, most times lightning storms have rain, so depending on how your DM rules it, I'd allow it, which is pretty dang cool. Another great point is you can actually use this to target multiple enemies, which is great. The range is absolutely fantastic. I really like it. A lot of the times DMs have a problem with this, just based on the fact that its range is so vast, its damage is so good, and the lightning strike comes from the cloud, so it's relatively difficult to pinpoint the caster themselves. That being said, it's not foolproof. For example, it doesn't ignore cover, so the bad guy just stepping inside makes a lot of sense. Something that is particularly great that I don't see a lot of people talking about is it doesn't say you have to target a creature. It just says choose a point you can see within range and you call down lightning on it. So that in turn kind of means you can affect objects, buildings, things of that nature. But the biggest linchpin in this spell is it has to be a point you can see. So if they're in cover, if they're hidden, what have you, then the spell's pretty much worthless. That being said, it's still really cool thematically. Once again, from a thematical angle, I love the Druid spell list. They also are pretty good mechanically, but man, this basically lets you become like a weather god temporarily for about 10 minutes, I guess. It's pretty fantastic. That being said, let's take a quick look at some alternative uses here. So I really like using this as a way to kind of get rid of groups of enemies when they're clustered closely together. It's not quite a fireball, but you know, in the long run it might be just as good as one. This is also a great way of having certain plans play out. For example, if you are a druid and you have a particularly good vantage point or what have you, and you can track the kind of BBEG as they run away, I just use lightning strikes to help signal to my other party members where they are, what they're up to, stuff like that, and help them track them down. I think that'd be pretty cool. And another great use is to get rid of guards. This is pretty fantastic because lightning bolts are naturally occurring phenomena, so it doesn't really draw a lot of attention to you in particular. And outside of that, it's pretty cool. You can have another one of your party members or even yourself be like, listen guard, I don't think you know who I am. If you mess with me, you mess with the forces of nature themselves. And he's like, well, I'm still not moving, and then wham, 3d10 lightning damage. Like it's nothing. I think that'd be pretty cool. There's just a lot of shock and awe to this, and I'm sure there's a lot of crazy ways of using it. But that being said, if you have any alternative uses, questions, comments, concerns, or stories, please put it down beneath in the comments section. And if you like that cool hand-drawn Dragonborn and you'd like your own hand-drawn D&D character, please check out the guild hall to figure out exactly how to do that. That being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy casting.